So thank you for jumping on with me. I wanted to just get a quick little video testimonial from you. I essentially wanted to just ask like three core questions, which is like, why did you join?
Yeah.
What has been your experience? And have you seen any outcomes at this point?
Okay.
So it's just super simple. Just a chance for us to like start telling the story, not out of just my mouth and Zach's mouth, but out of
Right.
some other people.
Yeah.
You know how that goes.
Yeah.
trying to get that rolling. So
Yeah.
so let's dive in.
I'm Julie Thurgood Burnett, and I am the president and CEO of Hereward Farms in Ontario, Canada.
Amazing. Julie, thank you so much for jumping on with me. You've been part of the Community Academy now for about 2 to 3 months. So there's a lot of programs out there, a lot of options out there. Why did you choose the Community Academy?
There's two reasons. One is I was part of Zach's Smart Founder program, last year. And to give you some background, I owned a marketing agency that I recently sold. And so e-commerce was a whole different beast for me. So I learned so much from Zach, and I liked the pace of the way he was. And when I saw the audit for the community, I was like, oh, because you get so deep in sometimes that you can't see out. Right. And I don't have anyone to bounce ideas off that are really going to be real, I think, right? Like it's
totally.
Right. And then everyone's after you to like, oh, sign up for SEO and what are the next stages that you need to do? But you've got all this coming at you and you don't really know where to go. So totally. I thought this was a great investment for me and my company. And I have learned a lot. And I'm actually kind of amazed every time I go. Like it's a commitment, right? Like 4 times a week. Like it's a commitment. I can't always be there. I really do try. But right. But when he gives you homework, you just want him to pat you on the head, right? So you do the homework.
I love that.
Yeah.
So this is you've only been part of the Academy for a couple months now, but you're already seeing like growth, and talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah. Especially when it comes to ads, because I don't think that you have the objective view sometimes what ads are going to work. So one of Zach's things is that he really makes you pay attention to what else is out there, and let's try this. And so there's no harm in trying. I mean, you're going to spend money doing ads anyway. So like right now I have 3 or 4 going, and how to set it up so it's proper, and all these things you don't think about.
Yeah.
And it's easy, right? And I think, and I'm really, it's no bull crap. I mean, we all have very little time in the day to figure things out.
Yes.
And to make it complicated where I'm like, okay, today I'm working on my marketing. Well, he's made it easy for me to go through, and the modules that we have, not that I've gone through all of them yet, but they're there when I can, right?
When you're ready. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think another thing that's really nice is that it's a great community of other entrepreneurs. So there's everyone from people that are just starting out to ones that are, have been in it a while and maybe just need a refresh. And so it really is great. And it's kind of nice when someone goes, hey, in the community, I need some help. And then we're all kind of jumping in and helping them or giving them feedback, because who are you going to ask? I'm going to ask my husband, who's just going to say, yeah, that looks great. Like he's not really right. So sometimes I show him my TikToks and he's like, that's ridiculous. And I'm like, I know, but look at all the views. Right. So yeah.
I think one of the coolest things that we didn't see happening, but has been this amazing growth, is the power of the community that we're building here. And obviously it's the sum of all the parts, right? So like the energy that you bring in, Julie, is so infectious and people feed off that. And like, there's so much good back and forth. So I think that's something we're really trying to do, is like bring the right people in so the community continues to blossom in an amazing way. You said something that the Academy has made things simpler for you. So you're able to like get more done Talk to me about that.
So like I said, there is a commitment, right? So you've got to like schedule, but I think it's helped me change my calendar and go, okay, so today I'm working on emails and on Mondays I'm working on the blog. I'm okay to give up my blog on Mondays, but I'm always cognizant that if I can't hit my deadline on a Friday to send out an email, that I have all this week. So I really try to balance that and what I've learned together. And it helps me build campaigns a little bit. So when like right now, I'll give you an example. We're working on testimonials, kind of like the night show, you know, where the bad tweets. So I'm reading out testimonials like they're bad tweets, but like I'm kind of like, duh, like, yeah, like this is, of course, it's like the most magical product. And it's taken off and it's kind of fake, but it takes time, right? Like I do curse Zach because I have to do my hair and my makeup like almost every day when I have to do this now. There's no like, so those things, but it's helped me kind of put things and see what's really working and kind of putting me outside my boundaries a little bit. Because for me, I was hiding behind my product a little bit because I didn't want my product to sell because of me at first.
Right.
Because I come from, like, I'm well known in our community. I didn't want it to be, and plus I owned my agency, right? So conflict. Right. And then someone goes, when are you going to put your face out there? And I'm like, oh, I don't, like, what? Isn't that for 20 something year olds? Like, am I really going to do this? But it's skyrocketed. And the engagement that I get, and that's the whole other thing. It's if people think they can just throw things out there and that be it, it's not. This is probably, you know, 3 hours a day of between doing content and responding to people and paying attention to what everybody else does. I think that was a nice thing too, is looking at other people, like whether they're in the same industry as me, to see what they're doing and what's working and those kind of things that we don't really know that are out there, bringing it to light. So like, I haven't got there yet for the TikTok ads. I'm not quite convinced TikTok is my thing. Reels does a lot better for me, but it doesn't. And that's the thing. It doesn't mean that because Zach says this is what we need to do, it's going to fit everybody. But he understands that maybe I'm not there yet. Right. So
and then you get the guidance on where you are at and help you make what you are currently doing really efficient.
Right.
And it's
a really good sharing. Like when we go in and Zach's like, okay, who wants to talk about? And so then it goes in order. And then if something, and sometimes we'll go over because we haven't addressed everything, or sometimes it'll be, okay, let's talk about that tomorrow, or let's change tomorrow because there's so much that we want to cover in here. And it kind of unleashes everyone's thought. It's great. Like it's a really, I think there's I don't even think there's 15 people. I think there's 10. Is there 10? I think there's about 10 of us. And everyone's just so respectful, and it's a great network that it's like going to one of those trade shows and you sit at a table and you meet all these great people. So it's the same kind of thing. So
that's amazing. Yeah. What do you think is like the biggest outcome that you've experienced, you know, in this short amount of time working inside the Academy?
I think I've always run ads. I did it more for brand awareness and didn't really drive the sales part of it. It never really did that for me. And so now I've got like 3 ads running that, like, every time it dings and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's my ad. Like, that was my ad. And when it's brand new people, right? Because I have a really great following, but when it's brand new people, I'm like, yes, like I've got someone new. I've got someone new. Yeah. Like it's I'm reaching and the reach is going further and further. So that probably is the biggest for me, is that it was a good investment, and it's not for the faint of heart, because you can't just throw money at it and not participate in it. And I was hesitant a little bit, but at the same time, what I'm learning is gold that I would have never, like, I could have read in books and done all that stuff, but to actually be, you know, boots on the ground, doing it, walking through each step to make sure, asking questions, going, hey, this isn't working. And having that, you know, as a small business owner, we don't have that marketing table to go, hey, this isn't working, everybody. So that's kind of what it evolves to, right? So
that's amazing. I think one of the biggest things that we've seen happen is that it takes entrepreneurship from a solo game
Mhm.
to a little bit more of a team sport.
Yep.
And it makes it so much more fun.
It's
Right?
it totally is. And you get to see what other people are doing and you just get inspired. And there are
Yeah.
times when I may not have something to say and I'm just listening. And then so I'm listening to that dialogue of, because it doesn't always have to be about me that interrupts or says, oh, I have something too, because I'm still learning. Sometimes I have my video off and I'm doing other things, but I'm still learning. Right.
Right.
So
that's incredible.
And you're still part of it. And I think one of the nice things is Zach doesn't know everything, and he'll be the first one to go, oh, let me look that up for you, or let's come back to that. Let me ask the team that question. So it isn't, there's no bull crap, I think is really what it is. And that support and the transparency, I think is pretty great. So yeah.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much, Julie. That is so helpful. Last question I got for you. Like what advice would you have to someone that's maybe considering joining the program, but really on the fence?
Don't wait, because it's the only, I mean, when you are launching a product or a service and you start with that tiny little circle and you're up against the world. So how do you want to take those steps? It's kind of, I put it in that perception of, it's like putting on high heels for the first time. You really don't know how to walk. And so don't you want a little bit of help to like how to walk? And maybe you should start small and bite, and those bite size things that you can digest, because you do have a business to run. Like we're all wearing 400 different hats. So how can we make it so you have a little bit of assistance? I say we, now I'm like part of I guess I kind of am, but
you're a we now.
I'm a we, but it's made me look at things in a different light. And before I could be sitting for 4 hours going, is this the right ad? Where now it's like, okay, I'm spending 4 hours actually creating something. It's going, let's move on to the next thing. So it's time management and knowing that you're planning and spending your money, because and it's not like, okay, guys, we're going to spend $500 an ad a day. No, let's start at 10. Let's start at 20. And you can start to gauge where you need to be. And some things aren't going to work, but it's all learning. And some things are going to do marvelous. So just do it. Like, there's so much, there's a lot of signups with like experts and, and the SEO people and, sign up and spend your money. And it's, it can be $20 here and $100 there, but you're really not getting anything. I mean, that sign up course thing that are out there, like an abundant residual income, they're everywhere, right? So this is very different because it's a combination of education, a seminar, and having a team.
Right.
Really.
Yeah, I think that's amazing, Julie. This is fantastic. Well, thank you so much for meeting with me and chatting through this. I just love your energy. I love your drive. You're such a key part of this. So, thank you for sharing all that. This is just amazing. This is amazing.
Worry.
All right, Julie. Well, we're going to get this rocking and rolling.
Okay.
And then we'll just go from there. But thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'll send you my bill later.
Yeah.
And
shoot it on over. I'll have my invoicing department process it. Oh my God.
Awesome.
You're the best, Julie.
All right.
Well, have an amazing day, and thank you so much.
Okay, you too.
All right. Cheers.
Bye.